those of you who are frequent the channel know that I think that Tyson Fury is the man right now when it comes to the heavyweight division. I get it. Usyk's got a lot of belts. He's incredibly impressive. He does very good work. But Tyson Fury is the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. Okay, in my opinion, he's the guy. So when I think about the heavyweight division, when I think about just wanting to see who's going to go out there and perform, yeah, Deontay Wilder is incredibly exciting, dude. I love watching that man fight. Love what he brings to the table. We just saw him last week go out there and almost decapitate Robert Helenius. Phenomenal performance. But I want to see what the champ is doing. I want to see the guy who's at the top of the division, what he's got next. So when we saw Usyk beat Anthony Joshua in the rematch, it was easy for us to think. It was easy for us to contemplate. Are we going to see a fight between Tyson Fury and Usyk next? Is that what the future holds for us? But that's not what we saw. Almost immediately, we started to hear talk of Fury versus Joshua. Okay, now that was a little bit interesting to me in the sense that Joshua just lost twice. Fury is the man. Why is Fury going out there and calling out a man who lost twice? But you only need to think about it for a little bit past that first thought, and you realize it's about the money. Okay, Fury came out himself and he said, look, this is going to be the biggest fight in British boxing history. This is going to be a fight that surpasses every record we've had, probably for tickets sold, money generated at the gate, pay-per-views, people talking about it forever, pre-fight promotion build-up. There is just everybody stands to cash in and make $1 million from this. I mean, way more than $1 million, but you know what I mean. Everybody stands to get rich off of a fight like that. I mean, it's toned down a little bit by the fact of what we saw from Joshua recently, but you also have to consider the fact that Anthony Joshua has had an incredibly impressive career up until this point. These guys have been talked about potentially fighting at different times over the course of the last few years. Joshua looked a lot better in that rematch with Usyk. Look, I'll be the first to admit it. I didn't think that he had it in him. I thought he was going to look better than the first fight, but he looked better than I thought he was, right? He went out there, he switched up trainers, he went with Robert Garcia. He put on a good performance. So thinking about Fury and him fighting, obviously Fury was going to be a big favorite going into that one. Doesn't matter when they fight next year, 2024, 2030, 2040. I'm always going to favor Fury going into it. That's just, styles make fights, and he just is a more skilled fighter. So it was a fight that we were definitely looking forward to, but it was one that I was favoring him. So he's going out on Instagram. He's making these posts. He's calling out Joshua, right? Kind of teasing him a little bit. Kind of trying to shame him a little bit, using these different little tactics, putting the deadline on him, saying if you don't sign it by midnight tonight, I'm pulling the offer. All different kinds of little things. Now, maybe he was being genuine and maybe he wasn't. Tyson Fury is a showman. He's going to generate conversation. He's going to generate buzz. He understands the need for that in the sport. He understands what that does, not only for him, but for the opponents, for the fans. He gets it all. He's a promoter deep in his heart. The man, and I think the man loves it, right? He certainly doesn't appear that you have to force him to put a microphone, to snatch up a microphone and to start speaking. But then we hear it. Then we hear what the fight's actually going to be. And it's not going to be Joshua. It's not going to be Usyk. It's not going to be Ruiz. It's not going to... Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora. So we're getting a trilogy fight that nobody wanted. We're getting the rubber match that was never spoken of. We're getting a third fight. And I don't know why. Other than to say it's a stay busy fight. I mean, look, I know the name Derek Chisora, as a lot of people do. He fought Tyson Fury 2 times in the past. He fought he fought Vitaly Klitschko. He's fought a lot of guys over the years, right? I don't mean to take anything from him. He's got a good resume in the sense that he's got a lot of wins. He's got an impressive resume in the sense that he's fought almost everybody at some point in time. But he's not at the height of his powers. He's not a winning fighter right now. He's not, does anybody even have him ranked in the top 10 in the organizations? I don't know. I haven't even looked, right? I just saw this fight get announced and I got deflated, man. I was up here thinking about, it's not always that we have an exciting heavyweight division, right? When you look at a lot of the biggest guys out there right now, they go to other sports. Less wear and tear, more money. Why is a guy who, you see a guy who's big enough and athletic enough to be a world-class heavyweight boxer. This guy has other opportunities, maybe in the form of basketball, in the form of football. We just don't see the amount of talent coming over that we used to. So my point being, we don't always see excitement in the heavyweight division, but that is not the story right now. These last few years, man, the heavyweight division has been on fire. It's seen a resurgence, and it's been led by guys like Tyson Fury. So when I see him going in with Derek Chisora, I get deflated a little bit, right? Like I said, it's the trilogy that nobody wants to see. All you got to do is go back and look at those first two fights. Were they competitive? No. They kind of played out exactly how you would have expected them to. Tyson Fury was the taller, longer, better boxer. He dominated the fights from the outside. Controlled distance incredibly well, used his timing, worked behind the jab, fought long. Derek Chisora was just reduced to a guy trying to dip in underneath shots, trying to throw hooks, trying to get on the inside and do work. Didn't happen. Ended up getting stopped in the second fight, man. Stopped. Lost a decision the first one. Stopped in the second fight. And now all these years later, when Tyson Fury looks better than ever. Dude, he doesn't fight that same way anymore. Back in those first fights, go watch him. He was using the old style, the one that we had known him for forever. Incredibly elusive, good footwork, great combination punching, switching stances back and forth, but dominating from the outside, dominating with the jab, fighting long, really big guy. What's he, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", something like that, with a really long reach, fighting from the outside. The last time we saw that style on display was the first fight against Deontay Wilder. Since then, he made a switch, man, switched up trainers, fighting with Sugar Hill Stewart now, going back to a very aggressive style. Decided he's sitting down on a lot more of his punches. Resulted in 2 stoppages with Deontay Wilder. Resulted in a stoppage the last time that we saw him, all right? Or before that. But now we're going to see him in there with Derek Chisora. Look, I think this is going to play out in a way that's not very complicated to see. Derek Chisora is going to get beat up from the outside. Tyson Fury is going to move in, press him back, beat him up, and stop him. How's it going to end any other way? All of a sudden we think now, when Derek Chisora has more wear and tear on his body, he's older, he's slower. All of a sudden now he's going to get in and land that big left hook. He's going to slip in underneath what Tyson Fury's doing and he's going to knock him out. Come on, man. I mean, I get it. Tyson Fury may not be incredibly focused on this fight. People may wonder whether or not he's looking past it. I don't know. I don't. I still think we're going to get a big fight with Joshua eventually. I still think we're going to get a big fight with Usyk. You know, Fury can talk all he wants about retirement. He can talk all he wants about not caring about his legacy. He can talk all he wants about not being after the money. To a degree, I believe it, but to a degree, I don't. If he wasn't worried about legacy, he wouldn't do certain things that he does. If he wasn't fighting for money, he wouldn't do certain things that he does. The man's going to be there. The man's going to fight. I think we will get those fights in the future, and they'll be great when we do. I also don't think that he's looking past Derek Chisora because he understands how much it means to continue to win. You can't go out here and lose to Derek Chisora and get all these big fights later on. I mean, maybe, yeah, you can still fight with Joshua. Yeah, maybe you'll still get a fight with Usyk, but they won't mean as much. They won't have as much historical significance. As many people won't be tuning in. He realizes all that. I think the man gets it, which means he's going to show up against Chisora and he's probably going to tear his head off, right? I'd be surprised if it went past 6. He's going to go out there, he's going to land some big shots, he's going to make it look easy, and then he's going to jump on the mic, and he's going to set the stage for who he wants in 2023. He's going to lay it all out there for how we expect it. Throw in a little bit of showmanship, probably talk crazy a little bit to Joshua, maybe poke a little bit about Usyk, about how he's too small and he's underdeveloped and underpowered for the division. Whatever the case may be, he's good for stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings, but I fully expect him to blow Chisora out. Don't think that's going to be a competitive fight at all. Man, it's a tune-up with a guy who's got a name. That's it. And that's why he took it. It's a stay busy fight. It's a tune-up fight. Doesn't allow any ring rust to set in. Keeps his name out there besides just staying on the mic. Actually keeps his name out there being in the ring. So he gets to see that. And Chisora gets a payday, I imagine, at the end of his career. So, let me know what you guys think about this one. Am I underestimating what Chisora brings to the table? Am I looking at this a little bit wrong in the sense that Fury's using this fight a different way? Is this more than a stay busy fight? Do we think that the potential negotiations between him and Joshua or him and Usyk have fallen through and we're not going to see that in the future? Let me know what you guys think.